I don't know why I find A Hat in Time to be such a fun game. It's a game that, when I think about, is something that I played countless times before as a kid. 3D platformers like Banjo-Kazooie and Super Mario 64, both predecessors that heavily inspired this game's creation, and I've received a lot of praise in the platforming genre, but I always come back to playing this game in particular. Maybe it's because of the cute aesthetic, the simple yet fun gameplay, or the all-around amazing soundtrack, but I think it's more than just that. As previously stated, A Hat in Time is a 3D platforming game developed by Gears for Breakfast. In the game, you play as a little girl named Hat Kid, a weird but fitting name for our character, I suppose. At the start, Hat Kid is traveling through space to get back home, but is abruptly stopped by the Mafia on this passing planet. The Mafia break into your spaceship, but accidentally let out all the timepieces, shiny objects that power your ship and are the main item you have to collect throughout the game. There are about 4 main stages to this game. 2 DLC, a final boss area, and about a dozen subspace stages that you can travel through to collect these timepieces. This doesn't even include the baffling amount of player-created content on their Steam workshop. In actuality, it's not a hard game to finish. I'm pretty sure I completed this game in around 6 hours, and speedrunners can do it in less than 2. But based on that logic, and looking at my total playtime, I've clearly spent way more hours than needed to. I think the first thing that draws me into this game is the visuals. For a simple platformer, it's a beautiful game. Every chapter is unique in its own way, with colorful atmospheres and little hints of world building splattered throughout each level, giving a sense of life to the levels you travel through. The first level, Mafia Town, is a beautiful island surrounded by bright blue water. It contrasts beautifully with the island's construction sites, evidence of the Mafia's influence on the area. You can see acts of vandalism sprinkled through the island as Mustache Girl, whom you meet when you first arrive on the island, is doing some small-scale sabotage in hopes of trying to get rid of the Mafia. Chapter 2, Battle of the Birds, takes place in a film studio, as 2 rival birds, DJ Grooves and the conductor, are trying to outdo each other to win a film award. The studio is mixed with a groovy disco setting that DJ Grooves prefers, contrary to the gritty western train aesthetic that the conductor is more fond of. Chapter 3, Subcom Forest, is a creepy woodland area with small ghostly creatures that inhabit the area. In the far distance, across a broken bridge, is a giant ice wall. Beyond the wall is a huge creepy mansion that sends shivers down my spine every time I approach it, with an evil witch living inside who will do who knows what if she captures you. With how distinct each level is from one another, they all still have one thing in common: the lighthearted, childlike tone that is featured in all of these chapters, except for this one. But as I said previously, the visual aspect isn't the only thing that makes this game a hit for me. It's also the simple yet fundamental gameplay that brings me back as well. Mobility in this game is euphoric. Simply jumping from one platform to another, making an insane jump you didn't think you could pull off, moving around in this game has never been dull. You're given a handful of different mechanics that you can combine together to make moving around levels as efficient and as fast as possible. My favorite mechanic is the dive button. By simply pressing a button, you can send Hat Kid into a dive, clearing a lot of space without having to press the jump button. However, if you hit the jump button right before you land from a dive, Hat Kid can do a quick somersault that gives you an extra boost of speed forward. It takes a bit of practice to get the timing right, but pulling it off when going through levels is so satisfying. I just feel so agile moving around. You can definitely feel it during boss battles, as every boss fight in this game throws different attacks at you at once, making dodging your main key to surviving these fights. The boss battle for Subcom Forest is my favorite in the game for 2 reasons. For one, at the beginning of the boss battle, Snatcher, a devil-like being that you've been doing contracts for throughout this chapter, takes your hat away, leaving you with none of your special hat abilities. So for the entire boss, you're limited to only your basic movement skills, like jumping and diving, just being able to dodge his attacks and waiting for an opening for you to strike. The second reason why I love this fight is this amazing boss music. Musical artist Pascal Michael Stifel does a fantastic job composing the scores for this game, fitting the exact tone that matches with the atmosphere and art design of each of these levels. From hard-hitting metal riffs for intense boss battles, to mystical melodies and otherworldly platforming stages. Each of these stages gains a huge benefit from the music that it accompanies. My favorite track has to be at the end of the game, simply called The End. After completing the final boss and obtaining all the timepieces, this beautiful, satisfying bedtime melody plays. And as I listen to it, it not only makes me think back to the roller coaster of adventure I had with this game, but it makes me think back to my childhood. A time where I didn't have to worry about anything. A time where the world just felt so big and unexplored to me. A time where life just felt so peaceful. Nothing has ever made me feel this way about a video game before. It gives me a glimpse of nostalgia for a time in my life that is long past and that I will never experience again. Every component that makes this game, from the level design to the gameplay to the music, is all amazing on its own. Combined together, it gives me a blast from the past, reminding me of games that I used to play as a kid. A Hat in Time is special to me in that regard. It will always have a place in my heart because of it, and it's the reason why I will continue to play for years to come. And the reason why it's more than just a game to me.